Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be talking about our main topic now of local marketing. So, as we're getting closer to the end of the year, hopefully everyone's started to work on those marketing and business plans, and there's some ideas in here that you can help incorporate into your 2022 plans. So, let's get started. Local marketing. So, what is local marketing? So, local marketing really is the action or business of promoting and selling products or services to a particular area or neighborhood, right? So, essentially, it's taking your marketing tactics like Google advertising or social media marketing websites or anything like that, and we're going to be using those tactics, and we're going to be targeting a local audience instead of a very broad range, right? So why is it important? Because local marketing is important for a lot of reasons. The first and most obvious is that being that you want to get consumers for your business in the local area, right? Why? Because these are the people who are most likely going to be doing business with us, right? So in order to target, engage with, and attract those local consumers, we do need a local marketing and a localized marketing strategy. So the second reason why local marketing is important is that 46 there's people searching for local businesses, right? Google estimates that 46% of all of its searches have local intent of some sort, which does translate to 1.4 billion local searches every day. We want our businesses to appear for those searchers with local intent because once again, those are the searchers that are most likely going to be our, the clientele that we want to deal with, right? So without a localized marketing strategy, you might be missing out on getting in front of these consumers that are searching for, looking for the services of a realtor in our area. So we'll go through some major types of local marketing, but before we dive too far into that, I'm just going to do a quick refresher about Google My Business. So a few weeks ago, I did talk about that and how it can be used as a local marketing strategy. So a quick refresher. Google My Business Profile is a free local advertising tool that can get you found on Google. So there's a couple ways that happens. So, it'll show your Google Business Profile shows up on Google Maps. It can show up in the Google Search 3-pack. So those are kind of the two main things. And then we'll go through, there's a couple of ways that you can get your Google business listing, to use it, to leverage it, to help you win over local consumers. So one is that we can seed the Q&A section of the Google Business Profile. So that, can highlight important features and hopefully increase customer confidence, right? So super easy. We can pick the questions that we think people want to ask about our businesses and answer them ourselves. So that's a cool and easy way to do that, right? And another thing is we can post about if we're running an open house or if we're running any events or anything like that, post our listing photos of, a couple things like that. Once again, it builds a more in-depth profile and it gives, hopefully consumers more incentive to do business with you because they're going to understand and know our business a little bit better, right? And then lastly, like we were talking about, is that Google does allow you to collect and respond to reviews, which is, once again, a very critical component of a successful marketing strategy, right? So, reviews are key. We know that people like it. They like to understand, it doesn't necessarily have to be a good review, even if it's a bad review. Like there's something about responding to it, right? Because a lot of times, there might be a misunderstanding, whatever it may be, right? But, it's a great way to kind of build on our Google My Business Profile. So so there's some couple ideas there. And then here are the things we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to talk about local SEO. We're going to talk about pay-per-click, social media marketing, Facebook advertising. One underutilized thing that I think a lot of us are missing out on are the local listings. So the business directories, display advertising, print advertising, direct mail, local sponsorship or event marketing. And when I talk about local, it can be a specific community, street, zone. So it's something you can decide on what should be your proper target area for your particular business, right? So the options are pretty, open there. So it's just whatever's going to work for you. And we'll dive right into the SEO. So for the, quick refresher there, SEO or search engine marketing, search engine optimization is a marketing strategy that helps your website show up on search engine results pages for searches that are relevant to the business or the offerings. It's basically how you show up on Google or Bing in the organic search results area. So what local SEO really means is that you're going to be optimizing your content for a local search intent, and it takes into account obviously offsite factors such as using things like local listings to help your visibility on search engines, review sites, local listings, like on Google Maps, right? So some tips to get kind of local SEO going is to build that localized content, like that we were talking about. Is that how do you do that? So the simple way is to actually build web pages that have that are community specific, or things like that. If you're trying to hit a downtown area, for example, then you're going to want to build a site or a web page that is around downtown, right? That has a lot of information about downtown, or multiple of those, right? Because that's what it means by localized content, right? Another super easy way to do it is to build blog posts, right? Whether you want to do reviews of best restaurants in downtown, or best condo buildings in downtown, things like that, right? Or even condo buildings in general, or whatever it may be. So that is what it means by localized content, is you were trying to do that, right? So those are some easy ways to get started. Just keep in mind, SEO does take longer. It's not one of those things that just happens overnight. So it will take time. It will take effort. It's a long-term strategy. Eventually, it will pay dividends, but you're not probably going to see something from it immediately. So don't get frustrated if you don't get immediate results on that part of it. The next part that we will be talking about is pay-per-click. So this is where you're going to see a lot more immediate results. So what it is, it's a paid search advertising. So it's, some people talk about it as SEM, so search engine marketing, or pay-per-click, right? So it's a marketing strategy that allows you to run ads on top of top search engines like Google or Bing. So with paid search advertising, you're only paying for clicks on your ad rather than impressions, which is how many times a searcher may see it without clicking on it. So that's kind of nice, is that you're not actually paying for it unless someone clicks on it and goes through your website. So it's a valuable way for your business to get in front of interested searchers and build awareness for our brand, even if they're not clicking on the ad, because at the end of the day, they're clicking on it, right? So they're going to see it, right? Even if they're not. So that's kind of cool about that. So another great thing about pay-per-click ads is that you do have an opportunity to localize your strategy. The reason being is that there's geo-targeting options that allow you, so your ads are only shown to searchers within a specific area, which it's nice. So if we're trying to hit certain things, at least we're only showing up in certain areas, right? So you're not seeing everything. So the big thing with running pay-per-click ads is that if you're going to be running it, make sure that if, for example, here I did a search for downtown condos for sale in Calgary, that whatever it links to is actually what what the person is searching for. So in this case, if it was downtown condos for sale, make sure that on your website that the page that it's taken to has something to do with condos for sale, because don't take them to generic homepage or anything like that, because you're going to lose people there and it's going to be a waste of money, because at the end of the day, people want to be taken to what they're searching for. So that is the key thing here out of it all, is that whatever your ad you're running, make sure it lines up to the page that it goes to, lines up with whatever you're running, because that if that's the only thing to take away for pay-per-click, that's the most important part. So so we'll move on to the next one, which is talks a little bit about social media marketing. So at the end of the day, we want to have a presence for our business on social sites like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and because another thing that makes it a cool strategy is that these Facebook, Instagram, and all this stuff does allow our business information, like our address, to be added in, and you can geotag, location of our pictures and posts and all that. So it does, just give that local presence, right? And then on top of that, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and LinkedIn also allow for location specific hashtags, which hopefully will help users find our page, right? And our posts. So, if you're running an open house and you want to post on, Instagram, for example, you can add that open house hashtag specifically for Calgary. There's a few. So that's, it's a great way, to show that local expertise, local presence, right? Or even to create your own hashtag, so that's kind of nice in that sense, right? And then Facebook advertising, once again, it's cool because it allows, to target users both on Facebook and Instagram. So hopefully it helps our business expand our reach and get more consumers. Well, at least that's the goal. So hopefully, like that's the idea, right? So, and then the nice thing is Facebook does have some pretty powerful targeting capabilities. It's a little bit more limited with real estate now. But that being said, there's still some options that make it kind of cool in terms of, being able to target specific users or different things like that, or locations, right? And then, like I was saying before, one of the more underutilized ones is, using those business listing directories, right? So we should be claiming, verifying, creating those local listings, right? So business listing services like Google My Business and Yelp, Yellow Pages do allow searchers to find information about, the business in search engine results pages, but also a lot of them have apps on their phones, right? So once again, it's a good way to be found. So the cool thing about these is the listings already are local in nature, right? Each listing is built around your basic business information, like your business name, your address, your phone number, your website, right? So it's already local to begin with. So the main thing here is that, we want our information to be accurate, right? So, because if your local listing information is inaccurate, you could be missing out on people that are ready to buy or ready. And also it could impact your local SEO, as we kind of talked about a little bit before. Google and all these search engines do rely on the results of the information from these local business directories. The reason being, these are trusted websites. They are, trusted information sources, when you're talking about like a Yelp or, Yellow Pages or Google My Business, right? So Google does put a lot of weight behind it. So they do use these information to determine how trustworthy the information is about your business online, right? So, making sure that, the main thing, make sure all the information is across every listing is the same, right? We want them to be accurate. We want it to be updated. It may seem like a large fee, but it's definitely something worth to do, and to ensure that the information is correct, right? Because the search engines do reward consistent information across the web. So if everything that they pull is the exact same name, phone number, that helps. And then on top of that, correct business information does create a positive customer experience as well, right? Which is also super important. So some options for those that don't know what, some for business directories. So here are the kind of the top 10 that have come across is like, Facebook pages, Instagram for business, Google My Business, LinkedIn, Apple Maps, Yelping, so here's some good places to kind of start and submit that information, make sure it's all good. So like I said, some good places to start. The next thing we'll be talking about is local display ads. So what those are, for those that aren't familiar, they're generally retargeting ads, or like if we're on the internet and I know, like if you look for camping stuff, all of a sudden you've been to a camping website and now everything is that follows you around the internet is ads for camping stuff. So that is what a display ad, right? So display ads are great in terms of a local marketing tactic because you can target local sites and local customers with your display advertising targeting. So it's not easy for most of us to do, which is why we have something like AdWorks that we can use. So the ad work, how that works is, retargeting allows you to further target, local customers who have visited your site, or sometimes in AdWorks case, it's just someone that's shown interest in real estate, right? So, if you run it yourself, and you're running off your website, how that works is, once they go to your website, and they've clicked through, even if they've never submitted or converted anything, your ad starts to kind of follow them around, right? So in the case of AdWorks, it's cool because most of us don't have the ability to run proper retargeted ads off of our website, because it's an expensive endeavor. But AdWorks does allow someone to target those that have shown an interest in real estate in a specific area, right? So it's a great way to run these ads. One, it creates great brand awareness. It shows that you're a local expert in that community. So if you're farming a specific community, it's great because then your ads will always show up. AdWorks even has the ability to buy specific postal codes that are limited. So you would be one of very few that would show up in those, right? So in those areas, and then using those ads, you can target, you can advertise either specific information that you want, or to promote your website, promote certain things. It creates a really good brand awareness, once again, just so that you stay top of mind. So another thing that we can do, going back a little more old school, is a lot of the local newspapers, community newspapers, right? So you can those usually provide a lot of opportunities for advertising of some sort, right? Whether it be an ad or get a listing in the appropriate section. Or else a lot of them, the community newsletters are always looking for, an expert editorial, paid editorial, right? So, every month you can write about something and get your name out there. So it's a great strategy because, once again, it's super localized, because we know exactly the community that you're going into, exactly where your targeted is. And there's lots of great community specific magazines out there. So great option. If we want to go a little bit more old school, great for that brand awareness, especially if you want to be known as that local expert, right? Another way is to send those printed advertisements, right? So it's another great way to create awareness for your business. Not only that, but by doing so repeatedly, it hopefully keeps your business top of mind, right? And that does increase the chance that people will come to you when they're in need of a realtor, because they're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that person, they were always mailing out community stats or whatever it is, right? So it keeps them top of mind, shows that you're a local expert in that area. So the cool thing about this is, obviously with Canada Post, you can target certain postal codes, which obviously makes it an excellent local marketing strategy, because it doesn't get more local than you telling exactly where you want this sent, right? So it could be street specific, it could be anything like that, right? One thing, the strategy that I like a lot of is obviously is sponsoring and hosting events, because sponsoring, it's a tried and true local marketing strategy. I like it because it allows you to connect to the community and giving back, right? Which is huge in my opinion. So like local sponsorship is exactly what it is. It's an opportunity for your business to sponsor a local event or organization. You can sponsor a charitable event, like something that a charity runs, or larger community events. Whether it be pumpkin drives, or it could be like support your favorite local hockey association, right? So different things like that, right? So I love it just because, like I say, a big part of it is it allows you to connect with the community, and it allows you to give back at the same time, right? Another thing we can be doing is, we can definitely be running different events. Nowadays, I know a lot of realtors have had a lot of success with running, first-time homebuyer seminars, different things like that, where you can invite, a mortgage broker, a home inspector, whatever it may be, provide that expertise once again, right? And so the options on that are pretty endless, because it can be a party for, customer appreciation, it could be a block party, it could be, a charity event, it could be a webinar. So there's lots of events that you can run and be a part of. So the last part of this is that, before you get started with your local marketing, it's important to set some goals, right? As Tony Robbins said, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible, right? So the main thing is, why do you need marketing goals? Well, you need a way to gauge whether your marketing efforts are working, right? Otherwise, how will you know if anything is working, and if or is this just luck, right, that we're getting the business, right? So local marketing goals enable you to stay on track with objectives of the business, right? So the main thing here is we want to set quantifiable goals that allow you to properly allocate time and money, of course, which is super important, to the local strategies that are working, right? And do away with the ones that don't, right? So some quantifiable marketing goal examples may be, follower counts, ROI, weekly, monthly sales, site visits, stuff like that, right? So once again, we just need something to track. That way we know what we're doing is actually working or not working. So some examples of some short-term business goals may be, whether to relate that local marketing is whether our website traffic is actually increasing, right? So, like, are we getting stuff from our pay-per-click? Are we getting stuff from, things like that, right? So Google you can attach your website there that shows, website visitors, things like that, right? Are we getting increased in conversions, right? So on our social media, are we getting more follower accounts, right? So those are some good short-term goals, right? Some long-term goals would be, name recognition and brand awareness and reputation, right? Like increasing of those, right? Or better local searching, right? So the nice thing about that is, as you do more of this stuff, we'll be able to figure out, hey, are people remembering that I'm a realtor in XYZ community, right? Or wherever, so am I coming up when I search up downtown condos, on Google? So those are things that you can kind of see that, track as well, and then you can see if those are getting better, right? So those are, definitely set some goals in terms of this, and in terms of all marketing, we should always have some goals that make sure that we're doing and we can review it, right? So because without that, we don't know what we're doing is actually successful or not. So yeah, that wraps up this. As always, if there's any questions about anything that I've covered, feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to answer anything that I can. Other than that, you guys have a great day and talk again very soon.